Welcome back to another video, and in this video I'm gonna share with you if you had $10,000. Let's take out 10 grand. If you had $10,000 and you had to make a decision whether to invest it and start a business or pay off your student loans, which should you rather do? I'm gonna share with you in this video. Progress daily. In order to get the opportunity, you must show up by any means, whatever it takes. Welcome back to another episode, and I'm excited today because she just posed an interesting question to me. What was the question that you asked me?
The question is, if someone has, or if you had $10,000 and you had to choose between investing it into something or paying off your student loan debt, which one would you do?
So the scenario is I'm a college student, and
or recently grad,
or I'm a recent graduate, and I got $10,000 cash.
Correct.
So from student loans, from stimulus packages, from a job, whatever it is, I got 10 grand.
Right.
And then I'm a recent graduate, and my options are either A, to invest it in start a business,
right,
or B, pay off my student loans. What would I rather do?
Yes.
Knowing me so far, what do you think I would rather do?
Knowing you would say start the business.
Why?
Because one, you believe that people should go all in, start their business, and not focus on saving money, which is conserving, but more on creating more income.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
Now there's terms for this. There's terms for this like liability and assets and things of that nature. But what we both know is that if I were to take that 10 grand and I were to invest, if I were to essentially pay off my debt, that would put me at a place of back to zero, which is broke. So being at zero is broke. Which broke is better? Being at zero or being less than zero? Which broke is better? Which one do I feel better in? Like I can't get food. I can't get food, I'm at zero. Or I'm so behind, I still can't get food and I'm worse than zero.
What's worse than zero?
Being negative, being that you're in debt.
But student loan is a debt.
Yes.
Okay.
So if I take that money and I use it to make more money, essentially what I'm trying to share with you is if I take that money and I use it to make more money, I can pay off my debt and get out of poverty, get out of being broke. So the first thing I would do is I would start a business. I would figure out a business. I would probably invest that money into myself somehow. I would get into the right circles of people who can afford higher level products, get into those circles, invest to get into those circles. Because if you look at money, money's a doubles game, doubles and triples game. So the goal of the money is like, hey, if I take this money, how can I double this money? I know for certain is if I put it into student debt. Now, I'm not telling you to miss your payments. That's not all I'm sharing. I'm not saying like miss your payments for student debt or default on the loan. I'm saying that, hey, if your payment isn't due until 2 years you being out of school, or you already took care of the last monthly payment and your monthly payment's $150 and you took care of that monthly payment and you can even invest and take care of the next monthly payment. What I'm saying is the remainder of that $10,000, don't just dump it in your school. Use that money to go figure out a new business opportunity so that way you can get to a place where you're taking care of your debts and you have surplus. What are your thoughts on that? Speaking from a college graduate, right? I dropped out of college. I have a different look on college.
Right, because you've been more an entrepreneur since young age, right?
The idea of that school is like a necessity. I mean, I hear it so often, like everyone's like, school's a necessity, like you gotta go to school. My parents ingrained that into me. You gotta go to school, And to see that a lot of the people that have gone to school and they don't even go into their major, or they don't even use anything, like their major was like photography or like journalism, majors that like, oh, my major was in Spanish. Do you speak Spanish? No, not really. Like they don't even speak Spanish correctly,
Right.
And to see that and that be the outcome is like, man, that's like a bad use of the system.
Right, and it's a long time to invest. The way I see college is an opportunity cost, because if you go for 4 years, if you can graduate in 4 years, because the system's actually not set up, at least the state school system is not set up to have you graduate in 4 years. You might actually take 6 years. That's just the reality of it with state budget cuts, not enough classes. So it's actually a lie that you can graduate in 4 years unless you pay more for a UC school, which is considered faster, better.
What did you see?
Like UC is considered for like California, it's a University of California.
Okay.
Versus a state school.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so it's a difference between like you have community college and then you can transfer into a state or a UC. Okay. But basically, the reason I bring that up is because college, the way I see it, it's an opportunity cost. Mm-hmm. If you're going to go to college, you have to consider the amount of time and money it's going to cost to be there for that amount of time. Because if you're going to college, you lose time to build a business, mm-hmm. you lose time to network with people, and you lose time to gain another skill. So now you have to choose which route you're going at 18. That's the choice I made. And I went to a 4-year college, which was, I'm thinking I'm gonna go in and graduate in 4 years, and it took me 5.5 years. Now my scenario is different because I did not graduate with any debt. I thought that was the norm because I actually ended up working every single semester. I had at least a part-time job, and I worked in the summers overtime. I was down to the last dollar every semester, but I was never in debt. So that's the difference, because now I hear my friends, they walked out with $40,000 in debt, $20,000 in debt. So my first paycheck, I could do whatever I want with it. Right after college, they were making payments on their loans. And that's when I saw the roles reverse. Because in college, I was considered, poor or limited or on a budget. In college, they were balling out. They were buying cars. I had a cheap car, like a 1993 Honda, and they had, 2010, Honda or something. And I would look at them and say, how can you afford all these things?
So I mean, that's when you were in college. So that was like the year, the make of the year. Look, I mean, I'm a college dropout. At 19, I dropped out of college, made a decision. I never wanted to say I was a college dropout because it had a bad stigma. But at this stage of my life, I am what I am, and I'm confident in the decisions that I made. So the fact that I dropped out of college and then I went into the route of entrepreneurship and said I was gonna figure it out, it is a form of education in what I was self-taught. And I think that the system of the school is set up or designed to have you be essentially dependent on the thought of others. Some may say that's not true, some may say that is true. I say that is true, that the system, like the college system, was derived from a system that was originally based in Europe, where that system was designed to create W-2 employees because the new industrial boom was taking place. The new age of the industry was taking place. So before that industry was when you had the local smith shop or the local cobbler who would create your shoes for you. And so everyone was designed to be an entrepreneur, but now people got fed into this idea of like, hey, a corporation's gonna take care of me. Right. So do I need to start my own business and be the local carpenter? I don't. A corporation's gonna take care of me. And then the idea of like, how do we mass produce employees was this idea of schooling. And then they put you to 12 years of school where they start you off as a kid, but corporations will help fund these ideas because they were getting employees so quickly. Like follow directions, eat lunch at this time. So you're already learning these basic principles at age 5 and age 6, lunch is at 12, morning, wait till the bell rings. Like this is all programming at a young age to set you up to be an employee. Now, something about me personally was that I couldn't listen. I was not in a place where I can take on other people's directions. Far from listening to people with authority, so I was forced to put myself in a place that had authority. In order for me to even be around, I choose not to be around environments that I'm not in charge of. What ended up happening is that by me branching out and saying, hey, I'm gonna take on the route of the real world on my own, right, it forced me to figure out real life scenarios and not in theory.
Very true.
If I'm in a place right now where I have to pay back a school or take that money and invest it to make a return in the future, my decision is gonna be to make a return in the future. The reason why is because I'm confident in my production. And you wanna write this down. If you're taking notes, write this down. Security is confidence in your own production, on what you can produce. How I know I'm secure in my home, how I know that I can financially take care of us, I'm so confident in my production that you put me in a city that without money, I'm gonna come out making 6 figures within a fast period of time, get us an apartment, get us a house. Like, I'm so confident in my production. I can sell water to a fish. I'm very confident in my production. But what taught me that was the real world.
Right.
The education system was not able to teach me this. So what I'm sharing with you is, if you're in that predicament where you have to decide to invest into the real world and learn how to win in the real world, or to pay back the system that taught you how to be a W-2 employee, put your eggs in the basket of learning how to win in the real world, so that way you can always pay them back time and time over again.
Right.
But if you take all your eggs and you pay back the old breadcrumbs early, you will forever be in debt. And that's a system in itself, to consistently put you into debt. I want you to think about it from a business, like from a lender's point of view, or someone who has a ton of money. Where would you have your strength? And a group of people that all paid you back on time, and you know what? They don't need your money anymore, so your money is not working for you. Or by enslaving other people and making sure that they're constantly paying you back for years and years to come, because they missed a payment, so they got to double down next time, and they got to pay late charges and late fees and so on and so forth, and accrue interest and so much. So of course they don't want you to pay them back ahead of time. They don't want you to pay them back on point. But if you do pay them back ahead of time, and that's all the money that you have, then you're shooting yourself up. You're shooting yourself in the foot for the real world experience, where you can use that money to invest into real world.
Right.
I mean, just by, if you came, for example, we have a training called the Brand Marketing Summit. If you took that, it's about $3,000 to come into this training. Out of that $10,000, you put in $3,000. The information that you will learn just off that $3,000 investment would be much more than all of your college education, and I'm confident for that. Now, some may disagree, and I'm excited for the people that disagree. But the reason I'm confident is because I'm teaching them what to do that the school system could not, which is how to generate income. Most school systems, the idea of generating income is going to a business owner and saying, hey, can I have a job? And what I'm sharing with you is, you do not have to go that route. I had a conversation with my brother, and I said, use the system, don't be used by the system. So like this woman, she goes to school, she goes ahead and learns what it takes to run a business from the corporate side,
right.
And now she brings it into her own entity, and she
Right.
brings it into her own life and her own relationships, where she's like, well, I took this from school, I took that from education, I took that from my W-2 job, and now she's in a mindset where she's like, okay, this is where I want to invest in, this is what I'm preparing for 2021's investment opportunities,
Right.
I'm looking at the market, this is what's going on in the market. So she's in a place mentally, now she's a great example, because she's in a place mentally where she had the experience of both worlds. She had the experience of going to school, getting a W-2 job, and she's also had the experience of running a startup. Would you agree that's two different worlds?
Yes, so they're two different worlds, and I think if for anyone that did go to college, I just want to emphasize, it doesn't mean that you wasted your time or that you will waste your time, but it's dependent on what your strategy is. Now, one of the things about college is you can get caught up in the partying. You know, you can get caught up in, I'm just gonna change my major, I'm gonna go in there and figure all this out year after year. But I saw a lot of people make the mistake where they change their major 3rd year, 4th year. Every time you change your major, you're actually adding more time and or more debt. The reason I bring that up is because I went to school because I wanted to get out of the small town that I was at. And the reason I went to school is because I saw it as a way to meet other people that thought the same way that I thought, that didn't want to be in this little hometown. So I thought I was gonna meet people with the same mindset. The second reason is because I wanted to open up a business, but I wanted to learn, you know, the way to open up a business. I didn't want to just start at 18 and have no idea. So then when I was in college, I always made it a point to meet someone that was older than me and learn from them. And I think if you go into college to find a mentor, to network, that's important. But if you just go to get out of your house, to just party it up, to change your major 5 times, you're wasting time and money. And be real with yourself. Like, honestly, you can't just be wasting your prime years from 18 to 23 undecisive. That takes up such a huge opportunity. I went to college with an intention. I went in with business as my idea, and I leveraged every relationship. I saw everyone as a mentor, a professor, older friends, things like that.
That's what it's about. It's about if you want to go, if you went to college, if you already went to college, you want to suck that sucker dry from opportunities. You want to meet as many people as you want to meet, as you need to meet. You gotta have so many phone numbers in your phone book. That should be your networking opportunity. Party here and there to get that out of your system.
Right.
But put as many people in your phone book, because those people are gonna change.
My first 2 jobs were connections. The first job was a hair salon receptionist, and someone said, "Hey, I'm about to leave my job. Do you want it?" And I just showed up the next day, and they said, "You're hired." No interview. And the second job was an office order administrator, and it was an acquaintance, a sorority sister, and I said, "Oh, I'm interested," and she said, "Okay." So I would not have had those real life job experiences that taught me marketing and order processing and Gmail and all these things
if it wasn't for
my connections, because no one's going to give you a job when you're 18 and have no experience, or 19 with nothing in your resume but clubs.
That makes sense.
We're not competitive.
That makes sense. So what's the consensus for you? If you're at $10,000, you got 10 grand in the bank from stimulus, you went to college, you're already a college graduate, or you're about to graduate, or you're a college graduate. Do you invest and start up a business, or do you pay it all in advance and pay the whole 10 grand?
So I always say, look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. That's a common thing that I live by. I used to work for a lending company, and I see it all the time. People keep piling on debt after debt, from a student to a car, student loans to a car, to X, Y, and Z. I would say if you have that student loan that is under a double-digit rate, so 10% and under, just use it for the business. No doubt about it, use the 10 grand for the business. If you're that student that has the student loan and the car and this and that, then still use it for the business, because now you put yourself in a situation where you have to increase your income. But however, let that be a learning lesson to stop growing your liabilities. And by a liability, unfortunately, depending which way you go, student debt can be considered a liability. If the rate of return is not enough to offset that total price, you may have a liability on your hand.
What she's essentially saying is that you have assets which help you make money. Assets could be your actual business. Assets could be real estate. Assets could be the things that actually make you business, and liability are the things that take away from income. So that's gonna be your car. If it's not helping you make money, a liability is a car. That could be a vacation. If it's not helping you make money, that's a liability. So that's on the spectrum of things between what's a liability and what's an asset. School can be used as an asset, or be understood as an asset, if it's helping you to generate additional income. If it took away from your income, then it's a liability. So what she's saying by not increasing your liabilities means, like, if you're already past the point where you owe money on a car, you owe money on an apartment, you might owe money on a mortgage, plus you owe money on school,
plus the credit card,
plus you got credit card debt, get out of that hole real quick. So one of the key things is gonna be go to a cheaper car, like a least expensive car. Don't get the newest thing on the block. At the end of the day, if someone sees you and you think that they think you're cool because you got the newest car, that's gonna blow over within a day, maybe a week at max. So if the people that you're getting the car to get them to like you, or whatever reason is, that's gonna be done over a week. However, that decision to purchase that car is gonna be there for years. It's gonna be there for years. I know someone who got sued over a laptop that they purchased 5 years ago. And after 5 years, that debt ended up creeping up on them. So you gotta be in a position right now, just like, hey, man, take care of your finances and learn how to make money quicker than you are spending it. Learn that skill set. If you learn anything in school, I hope you learn how to make income. If it's not that, good luck. But if school didn't teach you that, I have the best solution for you. Go to joinbms.com. That's joinbms.com. That's a 2-day event where I'll teach you step by step how you can start, grow, and scale a profitable business. And importantly, generate income in your life. So that way you can take care of your family and take care of the people that depend on you and take care of yourself. Anything else?
No, we just want to hear some ideas on what you think and any other questions that you may have that we can address.
If you found this video to be valuable, down below I want you to like this video, click that thumbs up button. I want you to comment about what you took that was valuable, and then also subscribe so that way you can get the notification when other videos like this come up next. I'll see you on the next one.